How's it going, everybody? This is Dustin with Team Conti Sim Performance with the race run replay for Dover. My approach for this race replay was basically flat out, just driving it hard, seeing what it was gonna do throughout a run. I had an ambassador, Zach Rinker. Thank you very much for your help today, or this week, I should say. I knew he would run a paced run, so I ran a completely flat out run. Wanted to see what the comparison would be, how the truck would sway in terms of balance, and I think I ended up with a pretty good idea. Looking at lap times, I'll give you the information now. Looking at lap times, driving it just flat out, I would have pulled Zach's run by a second in the first 5 laps, carried that to 2 seconds through lap 15. By lap 15, Zach was flying in comparison to my times that you'll see here in this run, to the point where at lap 30 and I'd say from 20 to 30, he was 2 to 3 tenths better per lap. So keep that in mind. If you need flat out speed, it's there. If you need long run speed, it's also there. It all depends on how you drive it. And we'll talk about some of the things I'm doing as I'm driving flat out, abusing the crap out of the truck. Um, Zach's tire temperatures never exceeded 300. Mine did. Mine were 320 on the right front, 315 on the rear. It becomes harder to drive, a little more uncomfortable, but as you'll see, it's not completely unstable. It is just slower. So, long run type race, you'll definitely want to take care of it. My pace started out, I think my lap 3 was 2 tenths better than Zach's best lap, which was his lap 2. He started out 5s, I started out 3s. So, um, definitely something to keep an eye on. Um, Take care of your stuff, and it'll pay in the long run. So we'll get right into the run here. This is lap 1. Looks like we're still having that issue with the throttle pedal. Sort that out. Clipped the apron a little there into 1. Had to really get out of the throttle. Just back under it. this is the completion of lap 10, and I want to point a couple things out. Um, as I mentioned in the Q video, with the direction of the wind is blowing onto the left side of the truck out of turn 4 and into turn 1. As you enter turn 1, it's not that big a deal because you can really point it at the off of the wall, and by the time you get to the point where you need the rotation, the wind is straight on the front of the truck, offering maximum front downforce. It migrates to the right side of the truck as you're centering and exiting. Truck drives like a dream through 1 and 2. It can really wrap that concrete to asphalt apron seam very, very well. Into turn 3, it'll enter fine, it'll hug fine, but from center exit, once that wind hits the left side of the truck broadside, it makes it really, really tough to get it back to the bottom. If you overdrive that point where the wind transfers from directly behind you to your left side, and you're carrying too much speed, it is a noticeable difference in your ability to be able to bring it back to the bottom. Turn 4 is always pretty tricky at Dover. It is compounded by this wind direction. The other direction I saw was southwest. I saw west and I saw southwest. If it's blowing from the southwest, that wind won't hit your truck until later in that corner. So a southwest wind is going to be easier to get through center exit than a straight west wind. For this video and for the setup building session that I had, or that I built using, it was a west wind. So a lot of what I'm feeling in these runs that I've done and in the notes that you'll see, it is based on a west wind. A southwest wind, it won't hit your left side. You'll get through center and exit a little bit easier. Entry to 1 might be a little more difficult. Getting to the center in 2, or in 1 and 2, the center of 1 and 2 might be a little more difficult. I did not test that. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as the center exit issues out of 4 are with a west wind. So I kind of picked worst case scenario when building and when doing this run, so that we can kind of see how that works. At this point in the run, it is favoring a little tight, and the reason I bring that up, and this is the other point I wanted to mention and why I paused. I set a truck up to drive off the right rear, to rotate really well, favor a little bit on the free side. It was substantially slower. The truck wants to drive off the right front at this place. It's going to irritate some people, I feel like. I want to make sure that this is clear in the video, and that you guys are aware of it. If it was, anytime I built the setup freer so that it was driving off the right rear and rotating just based on that, be it crossweight, be it springs, be it whatever, track bar, whatever, it scrubbed speed on the rear. Scrubbing speed on the rear with this track being such a momentum-based track really killed lap time. So it is built a little tight. How you drive it can affect the way that it will drive and how it will affect lap times long run. Keep that in mind. Take care of your right front. Keep tires under 300. It'll take practice and going back to the garage to see where your tires are for you to really know where that threshold is. But trust me, once you cross it, you will feel it in the way the truck drives. So, slower will be faster, and snug is faster than loose here. This time around with this new truck build. Anyway, back to it. missed the bottom there, and it was reflected in lap time. We dropped 2/10 from the previous lap, which was lap 13 to lap 14. Big difference. Make sure you're hitting that bottom. Starting to see that overdrive in entry, pushing center, getting back to the throttle too soon, really starting to pay a toll to my right front. This is one of those thresholds I was talking about with tire temps. If I had to guess, we're in the 290 range here, and you can really feel it. So I will start to drive it more off the right rear, try to persuade it to the right rear. And you'll notice, because in center I'll get it pointed to the bottom, and then we'll be more aggressive to the throttle, crossing that bottom apron. And maybe a few more laps. In fact, I think I hit the wall out of 4. Little smackaroo. But then you'll see that I changed my approach to center exit. Get it pointed to the bottom, and then be more aggressive in putting it on the right rear at exit, and it'll actually start to wear the truck where it is starting to free up center exit, where there's some snap corrections and some moments where it does get free and yaw out a little bit. So keep your eyes open for that. That really is a positive, in that I drove this thing like I stole it for 20 laps and wore it tight, but then I was able to sit it on the right rear and abuse the right rear a little bit and bring it back to where it was neutral and even a little free center exit. So definitely a lot of input or influence from the driver's seat with the setups this week. All right, so we're coming to 5 to go in the run. lap times for Rinker at this point were in the nines. He never left the O's. So keep an eye on these lap times for the next few laps, or for the final 5 laps, and see what pacing yourself, not overdriving, not abusing the tires, not spiking above 300 will do for your lap times. All right, so you see it really dropped off in terms of lap time because I did spike above that 300 threshold. Like I said, I was 320, 315 or so on the right sides, um, simply because I drove it super hard. Zach and his 30 lap run was in the 290s on both right sides. So um, whoever can manage those tire temps um, while maintaining smooth inputs, wheel, throttle, not rushing back to the throttle, maintaining a strong roll speed through the center without overdoing the throttle to the point where you're over stressing the tires exit. Those are those who are going to be the ones to beat this week. So keep that in mind. Take care of your stuff. If you have races that look like they'll go long, short runs to the end, we've got a very, very stable and fast truck that can just go ahead and race for wins in those situations as well. So I feel pretty good about it, and I wish the best for you this week. Good luck. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for choosing TCSP, and we'll see you at the track.